Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you. This is my desk and I have stuff everywhere. I was working and of course it's so beautiful when you have your Swarovskis out. Everything sparkles. So let me talk about what we're going to do today, and let me get my lamp here. Um, let's put this out here. We are going to clear this off. I was working on trying to come up with another design for this earring, and I'll tell you because the initial design, and I can't remember her name, but I'll post the link to in the description to the artist that does this tutorial on YouTube. So this is her design exactly. And I do find, you can see, I don't know, you can see how this is curling up. So I think it's in a different language. So I'm wondering if maybe these are 4mm bicones. If maybe I used a 4mm round, it wouldn't stick up like that. And you can see on this area here, it gets really kind of buckled. So I was looking to create another design. I also feel that as beautiful as this one is, I feel like the bicones get lost in it. And because I'm using Swarovskis, I don't want to use up my Swarovskis where they're not really doing much for the design. So I kind of want to highlight them. So I feel like they're just lost in this area here. So that's an area that I would change. Definitely, they look beautiful here. You can see them. So yeah, this is the one design, and this is what it looks like on the back. This is super simple. So I'm going to do this one today. We're going to do a different color that maybe we can see things a little better. I think that's the other thing I'm kind of working through is which colors really accent things. In her design, she uses the same color super duos. Let me enlarge this a bit. She uses the same color super duos as the seed beads. So, I mean, they look fine, but I feel like I matched these super duos to the closest color I could find to my Swarovski bicones, and I think that's where I ran into problems with the color getting lost. So I think the idea would be to maybe do a complementary color for both the rivoli and the bicone. So I do have a sample, but in the meantime, let's take a look at the other stuff. So I thought, hey, I got a comment from Richard from Real Men Bead 2. He suggested doing some flower designs, and so that's how I came up with this one here. So thank you so much, Richard, for the suggestion. It also gets me excited about spring, and I know that if you're like me, I'm kind of sick of winter right now, sick of being in the house and stuff like that. So this was the one that I did. And again, you can see this crystal is way too big for this application. So it's, the thread's hanging out a bit. I made it a bit thinner, and how I made it a bit thinner so that it would dangle more is I used a thinner thread. So normally I would, actually this is a 5, but you know what? I find the 5 green is thicker than the clear. It has more substance. And where is the clear here? So on this one, I use this clear number 5, and it is incredibly thin. So it will, give you that kind of a little more a loose feeling to it. So I feel that helped a lot. And definitely these colors, you can see the Swarovski crystals. And because I didn't have a drop bead crystal, I just used 2 bicones and tried to create an accent with that. I think we can do better with that as well, but I will do the basic design first and then we'll figure things out. So in the meantime, I was working on different ways to use this bezeling technique to create something interesting. So my initial thought was to take a bunch of different color super duos that represent spring flowers. So you've got the yellow, you've got the lavender, and so this one I put the green Swarovski rivoli inside, as well as this one here. But this one here, I wanted to do like a sunflower. So I think if the yellow was a little more orangey intense, it would look nice with the brown, but it still looks great. And then of course I put, these crystals are like a olivine color, and so are the super duos. It looks really nice, but it wasn't exactly what I was going for. Again, I wanted to create green leaves around the flower so that the flower would pop, but I didn't quite get that feeling here. Although I did switch up, I put a yellow crystal, and every alternate one I put a green to represent the leaves. And then I put these super duos this way on the ends like this so that I could connect it with another flower to create a bracelet. The only problem with that is you're always going to alternate because you have an up and a down on your crystals. So this one is down with your petal, and then the two side ones are up a little. And then if you go to the exact other side, you have this one's in the up position and those two are in the down, which is not a big problem because if you create more of these, you can take this side and attach it to this side. So there is that. So these are just like a work in progress. And then this one here, what I did for this one was, again, I used the green for the inside of the flower. You could use the lavender rivoli, which I'll probably do to see how that turned out. And then I have the lavender crystal and then the green. And the green is a darker green that so here is the olivine colored crystals. And then you can see these over here are the darker green for the petals. So yeah, so that's what I'm up to. Oh, and I did do a pink one of these. And again, I've got the two there. So here's the three combinations I did. You can see how the matching the super duo to the crystal, you kind of lose the crystal. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to put these, let's see if we can clean this up a bit and we'll get going on the other one. So if you're not interested in watching me move things off my mat, just go ahead and fast forward. But I'm just going to put these away. And here's the, these are so gorgeous, these rivolis. These Kath sent me from England. Thank you so much, Kath. I think probably just about every design that I end up making, I'll be saying, and this was from Kath from England. She's my bestie. So let's just move that up there, and I should have my bag for my green crystals somewhere here. Let's get a new bag. Just actually put those there. And we don't need this thread hanging in our work here. Put these out of here. So the next one we're going to do is silver with turquoise. That should be lovely. And where's my... I'll just put that there. Okay, so I have my needle. And I guess I was going to say we'll use the green, but you know what? I think we'll use the gray. And this is a size 6, so I think we'll try the size 6. So take a wingspan, and actually you don't, I was going to say you don't need a wingspan of this, but you probably do for the complete, for this. Let me put this one out so we have something to look at for this one. I wonder if I might have a blue drop crystal. So I'm just going to flatten this to go in the needle. I am using a size 10, and I think this is a John James needle. So the eye of the needles are very big, so you can see the thread moves around in it. So just be aware that you might have to hang on to your thread at the end of the needle so that it doesn't pull out when you're working on it. So let's just bring that. Let's get our supplies. So you're going to need some size 8/0 beads. We're going to start with the rivoli. Actually, we don't even need that much. I think we need 8 of them. Let's just put those there. And you need some 11/0s. And I try and match up the colors, but there's so many variations of silver. The same with gold, so actually we might need more than that there. And you're going to need a 14mm rivoli. If you're doing the 2 earrings, you need 2 of them. So these are so lovely. Look at that. Oh, isn't that amazing? Thank you so much, Kath. These are beautiful. I think these are going to turn into these. And then, of course, you need your super duos. So we are going to use a lot of these super duos. That's the other thing. You need a lot of the super duos for this, but as far as I can remember, one container like this, one tube, will be enough. I was just checking that looked like there was no hole on the one side. For both earrings, you should have enough with one little tube. And your crystals. So let's put the crystals here because we're going to start with the rivoli bezeling. So I don't think I have one. This is the most closest to what we're going to start out with. So we're going to start out doing the super duos, and then once we have the first row and the second row, so both holes of the super duo, then we're going to flip it around and we're going to add the beads here to close it up and put our rivoli in, and that's what we're going to start with. So let's just put that one there. So you need 14 for each bezeling of the rivoli. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And I'm doing it like this. This to me is the easiest way to know that you have the correct amount, and saves you from counting all the time. So you're going to start your first row. You are going to pick up an 11/0 and 2 super duos. I'm checking my holes because I don't want to get to the end and realize the second hole is not open. Another super duo. So you're going to just do this all the way through. A super duo or a 11-0 seed bead and 2 super duos. And check those two. Let's go through. And 11, 2. And keep going like that. So I was thinking about, I don't know why it came up, thinking about Easter coming up. And I grew up Catholic. So Easter was very religious, and like Lent, the 40 days before Easter. Okay, so let me show you what I have here. So you have your 14 super duos, and you have an 11-0 in between each set of 2. Okay, so you can take that down to the end. So I was thinking about, I guess, like candy and stuff like that. When we were going through Lent, that would be the thing that we gave up for Lent. So you have to give up something for Lent. I'm laughing now because like it was super serious, and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't get it, because I soon discovered that the adults weren't doing the same thing the kids were doing. Like it was very strict. We could not have any sweets at all, so we couldn't have desserts either. So you're going to loop it around so that they create this little circle. So you're going to just knot that a few times. And I always put a third knot. I'm a little, too many times I've done this and 2 knots and the thing came apart. So just make sure it's all in there. And I'm going to see if I can get my thread burner to work here. I need new batteries, but I'm always leery of putting new batteries in because they're so strong that it burns everything. So that's perfect. So you can't see that thread now, especially with using the gray thread. So now what I want to do, now you could go through this one more time, but I mean, I'm going to pull on this. This is not going anywhere, so I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to step up to the top hole, like that. And let me get these 8/0s over here so we can pick them up easily. So if you take a look at what you have, the seed beads are the super duos that don't have an 11/0 in between them, are kind of snug together, which makes this area a lot bigger. So that to me makes sense. That's where we're going to put the 8/0s. So they will fit in there nicely. But then when you go to the next one, it has an 11/0. We're going to put an 11/0 there. So you're going to alternate from 8/0s to 11/0s for the outer circle. And just one thing I want to point out, see this little bubble here? Sometimes these super duos have that. So when we go to add our extra beads to make the bezel, make sure you put this as the bottom so that you don't see it, because one of these I did and I was not happy when I looked at it. There's a bubble on the top. I mean, you're not going to notice that in the scheme of things, but being a perfectionist, that irritates me. So let's remember to flip that. So let's go through with our 8/0. That. Then an 11/0 for the next one. Like that. Then the next one is an 8/0. So yeah, the we had to we still got our allowance during Lent, which is funny. So what we would do is we would make a basket, an Easter basket out of construction paper. If you're my age, you know what that means. And then we would, I don't know if we would shred our own Easter grass or if you could buy it. And then we would, when we got our allowance, we'd go to the store and buy candy, but we couldn't eat it. We'd put it in our basket. So by the time, can you imagine, like, I guess it's only a couple of weeks of um, of Lent where you were getting your allowance and filling your basket. But yeah, we would have a full basket by the end, which didn't prevent us from getting candy or chocolate for Easter morning. My parents would still get us all that stuff. But like I was saying, my parents wouldn't do the same, I guess, giving up stuff for Lent as we had to do when we were kids. And one of the examples is, this is so funny. So on Good Friday, which is supposed to be the day that Jesus died, so you're supposed to be in mourning. So my mom used to tell us that, and it was usually my mom indicating the rules of of Easter and religion and stuff like that. So I think my dad just went along with it, right? But so we were supposed to be in mourning. So how my mom explained it to us is we were supposed to have um, sit on the couch with no electricity, no TV, no lights. And how she explained it, like we were like, why are we doing this? Like we're teenagers, like 12 and 13, 14. And she'd say, well, what if your father died? Wouldn't you be in mourning? Like, okay. So the one time I remember the Bay City Rollers were on, they were doing a live telecast or something and of their concert, and we wanted to see it. But of course, back then there was no DVRs or anything. So if you missed it, that was it. You missed it. So we were really upset. We wanted to see it. Here we are, me and my sister Sylvia, sitting on the couch in mourning. Actually, we were pouting because we couldn't watch it. And my mom and dad were in the kitchen playing cards with our neighbors. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add the beads to create the bezel. So we are going to use these big 8 to start with for the first set. So we're going to add 5 11 to each set. So we're going to go from here to this one and so forth. So we'll just do that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5. And you'll find that when you start to do more bezeling like this, that your number that you add on that's going to close up your bezel is going to be an uneven number because you always need a bead in the middle to pull everything equally down. So go through the next 8. I'll show you what that looks like. You're not going to pull it tight, but you're just going to pull it like that, snug. And then go to the next one and just do that all the way around. So yeah, I remember saying to my mom, it was so funny because Sylvie and I were discussing it. We're pouting, going, why is it that we have to sit here in the dark and they're playing cards? And they were like laughing and carrying on. And my parents, when they played cards, are so funny. They would like yell and throw the cards down and slam the table with their hand and stuff when they're throwing their cards down. I'm like, that doesn't sound like they're in mourning. So I went and told my mom, I was like, why is it that you guys get to play cards and we have to sit quietly? So she's like, okay, you can go ahead and watch. So we were all happy we got to watch the Bay City Rollers. So the other thing that I found strange about Easter is when we went to French schools that were run by the Catholic Church. So when we went to grade 9, like high school, it was an English school because the only French school they had was further out of town, and it was like a non-denominational school. So my parents wanted us to go to the Catholic school. So this was a Catholic school that was run by nuns. They had a lot of like businesses that they ran because the school was actually a business. So grade 9 and 10 was covered by, you'd call the state. So you didn't have to pay tuition for grade 9 and 10. But then 11, 12, and 13, you had to pay tuition. So anyway, it was an English school. And they did Easter differently. So I'll get to that once we discuss the next step in this. So now we've gone around and done the whole thing. And now what you want to do is you want to go through what you already put on, but come out on this middle bead. Here, like that. And then you're going to add some beads and you're going to go to the next middle bead. And we're going to go through that all the way around. And okay, so there's our little bubble on our super duo. So when we go to add this, we're going to make sure that we flip it this way. And here's the other thing is this design asked for 2 beads in between these. And I found that it was really hard to get the 2 beads to come together. I felt like that you needed 3. So let me see. I think I did it on one of these. Yeah, this one. I did 3. And it still bezels it nicely. So you can just see the difference in between the two. So you can see how this one's not coming all the way through. But if you want it to come in closer in this area, this is a little further out, but I feel like it doesn't really matter. So let's do 3. So I was working on these designs because I wanted to change how these like sat and stuff like that. So we will do this one in particular. If you have any suggestions on how to change things, I think it might be the crystals are a little too big. You see how it's really buckling. But anyway, we'll get there. So let's go through to the middle bead here. So that would be the 3rd bead in this row. Like that. There. Actually, you know what? I'm going to flip this now because I know that it's going to want to flip down. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, so we'll leave it. Okay, so 3 11 O's and go to the so you're coming out of this middle one here. You're going to go to the next middle one, just like that. And then 3, let's bring some over here. And I apologize, my hands are really shaky. My medication for my bipolar disorder really, we increased it because the level, when they do the blood level, it was pretty low. So we increased it, but in increasing it, I get shaky hands. I see the psychiatrist at the end of the month. So we're going to discuss reducing it just by a small amount. to stop that shakiness. So there, you can see I've kind of coaxed it to the top. There's our bubble. So this way we can put our rivoli in the middle. And you can put your rivoli in at any point, but it seems like there's no point now because nothing's closed tight. So let's keep going. So like I was saying about the English school, high school, they would have an Easter egg hunt. And I always thought that was the English people did that. It's so funny. Because we never had Easter egg hunts. I had never heard of it. That was something strange to me. But it was so funny because, when you never have an Easter egg hunt, it's fun. We're in high school, and I'm like, I want some Easter eggs. So the nuns, they lived in the school. So they lived on I think it was the 3rd level of the school. They would come down and they would hide the Easter eggs before we got there. We got there on, I guess it was the Thursday before Easter. But so that was so funny. And of course, I had, when you have no skills at finding Easter eggs, you're like, I'm never going to find any. They must have hidden hundreds of like little Easter eggs, chocolate eggs. So anyway, we had a telephone booth. This is freaking hilarious. This is telling age here. There was a telephone booth inside the school. So it was just like a little closet, and it had a seat in it and a telephone. And you would, put the coin in and make your call. That is so funny nowadays, like with kids having cell phones. So anyway, the inside of the closet, the one wall had like the pegboard, so all the little holes. And for some reason, you're sitting there, you're on the phone, and you're picking at stuff, right? So there was a little hole in that pegboard. I found an egg in there. That was the only egg I found, and I was like surprised nobody else found it. So we are at the end here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through these again just to tighten. So let me just go through. Now here's the option that you have. You can go through just the 3s, or you can go through the 3 and that middle bead as well. I think for now we'll just do the middle bead on this one, and then we'll pull it tight. So let's put our beautiful rivoli face down like that, and then pull your thread and pull. Part of what's going on too is these super duos are changing their shape in the sense they're coming down rather than straight out. So you do have to pull it a bit. I'm going to go through these guys, see if this helps. Pull them in, go through. Yeah, it helps. So let me go through the next few. And I'm going through the middle bead from the previous row as well. Seems to be pulling them in nicely. Look at this. And I think this one I went through too. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that one I went through too. So let's skip that one as the middle one. So just go through the 3 if that happens. And then we'll go through all the 3s here. I'm just going to pull that in. And I'm just using my thumb to coax the others. Go to the next 3. So clearly I took 2 beads when I should have done 1. So yeah, that was the Easter egg hunt. I got one whole egg. And then the other thing we did was Good Friday, we would have a starve-a-thon at the school. So what they would do is you had to raise money, like sponsors, for how many hours you could go without eating. And you would bring your sleeping bag and your pajamas to the school, and you would stay at the school till the next day. So you'd sleep at the school. And it's so funny. So different areas, they had different things for us to do. So there's in the cafeteria, they had, I'm trying to think, we must have had VHS at that point. Or you know what? It might have been just that movie was playing. So the Ten Commandments was playing. And they had a TV hooked up so you could watch it. So you'd be there with your sleeping bags in the cafeteria watching this little TV. It was not a big TV. So I'm just going through all the threes and just the threes to try and get this nicely. So this, I'm just thinking these, I wonder if this is not the right size. You know what? This is a size 12, I think. Oh no, they look the same. Sometimes if your beads are slightly bigger, depending if they're Miyuki or whatever other bead type. But as long as it does the same thing, it's not a worry. So you can see this is coming out nicely. So we'll just go to the next one. And then we'll get ready to add the rest. Okay, so this one here, I am going to bring my needle up so that I can start adding some stuff. So go through that middle one and we'll pull this tight. There, like that, and just kind of make it nice and round. And there is beautiful. Okay, so we are coming up. Okay, this way. So we went through this middle bead. We're going to go up through these guys. And we're going to go up through the 8-0. We're going to have to do that separate. It's going to bend my needle like that. There. And go through the 8-0. That. Ta-da! Okay, now we're going to start to add the other goodies. Let me just... So on this, we're doing the crystals all the way around. So it's going to be opposite. So if you see this one has, or this one has the 8-0. The ones that don't have the 8-0 are going to be closer to the bezel. So we're going to do that set, and then we're coming around and we're going to do the second set of crystals. So let's go through. And you're going to want to add some 11-0s to the side of these. So pick up an 11-0, a crystal, an 11-0, and you're coming out of this 8-0, you're going to go through the next 8-0 like that. And like that. And just continue all the way around the same way. So 11-0, crystal, 11-0, go through the 8-0. That 11-0, crystal, and 11-0, and go through the next 8-0. So I'll just keep doing that while I'm jibber-jabbering. I hope you're enjoying. I've been getting away from telling the stories because I feel like I've told all my stories and I don't want to be that old lady that keeps telling the same story. So if you've heard it before, just move on. So yeah, they had basketball in the gym, and I can't remember what else they had. They had all kinds of activities for us to do. And yeah, I'm trying to remember. And then of course you could just get your sleeping bag and go to sleep. You know, and they had like refreshments, so they had juice and water, and you know, that was before the days of water bottles. So we must have been using styrofoam cups for that. But you know what? It wasn't hard at all to do the Starvathon part of it. And I never found it was. And we used to go to a restaurant for breakfast the next morning, like our friends. And this is pretty. This would be pretty on its own as an earring or a bracelet. Ooh, we need to make a bracelet with this. I gotta figure out the middle pieces. Okay, so like I said, these ones are sitting low to the bezel. So now we're gonna put these ones in here. So they're gonna be a little higher. And to do that, we're gonna go to the next set of that we added on. So we're coming out of this 8-0 right here. We're gonna go through the 11-0 and the crystal and just that, because we're going to add a seed bead on here as well as the crystal. So we're going to do the same. We're going to pick up an 11-0, a crystal, an 11-0, and just go through the crystal on the next set here, just like that. And you see what it does. It nicely, the 11-0s nicely outline this crystal. So just keep going like that. 11-0, crystal, 11-0, and go through the crystal alone. So it's funny that I'm thinking about this. We would go out for breakfast in the morning. I remember we showed up at this restaurant and it was in like the main part of Toronto. So that's where our school was. So there was people that had money because we grew up in a poor part of Toronto, even though we were middle class. But we'd go to this restaurant and we would, of course, we'd been up all night. And if you ever seen a bunch of teenagers that haven't slept, how silly they get and slap happy and whatnot. And I'm sure, I think of it now, and I'm sure my bipolar played a role in that, because one of the things that I have to be careful about is not getting sleep. And it's not just like, oh, I've missed an hour or two sleep. It's if you have to stay up all night, it could get me manic. So I think probably back then that was what was happening, because I was cracking jokes at the restaurant loud enough that the rest of the customers could hear, and they were all laughing too, right? And that was something I did a lot, and I never knew what it was about until I was diagnosed. It's like, oh, that's what it was. It's like you're drunk. Look at how beautiful this is. So now we are ready for the next step. Again, at any point, you could start using this for something else. So this is a good technique to master. And this is what it looks like on the back. It's so pretty on the back. That's lovely. Okay, so let's take a look at my example so we know what step to do next. I've done a few of these, but you know, it takes a little bit to get the groove of it. So now what we want to do is we want to add this super duo here. And so it will take us, we'll have to pass through this crystal. It'll take us to this area here. So you want to add the embellishment of the beads around the crystal, which will take you out to here. And we'll add these. So let's just leave this one so we can see what we're doing. So we're coming out. Let's see. I'll make sure I get the right one here because they are different. So this is where the 8-0 is. Okay, so the 8-0, and we're going to add the super duo. So we should be able to add, okay, we have to go through this section here. That's what's, because that first one should be in this, on the lower crystal. So you probably don't need to know this part, but so let's go through. So make sure you're coming out of one that has the 8-0 in it. And I'm going to go through just the 11-0. There. So now we're ready to add our super duos. So you're going to add 2 super duos. So here's the other thing that I did changed up on this design. You're going to add 2 super duos and just 2 super duos. But let me, where's the yellow one? I put seed beads in between. I found that it looked nicer with seed beads. There. So let me try that. And like I said, I'm going to put the link to her video in the description. So if you want to follow it exactly how she does it, I've only changed a few little things that I felt just made it look better. So this is what we added. We're coming out of this 11-0 after we've passed one of these super duo in line with this, or the 8-0. Added a super duo, an 11-0, a super duo, and then you're going to go through the next 11-0 crystal and 11-0. Like that. So that would be the top position here, right here. So now we're going to add 3 seed beads to the next crystal to go around these crystals. This one's an 8-0. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Oh. There we go. Go through the 11-0, the crystal, the 11-0. You've got your 3 beads there. That will create this lovely embellishment like that. Okay, so let's see what the next. There's a lot of little steps like this, so that's why. So the next step is I think the next, if you look here, so this is what we just did, and then we came through here. So we're going to add super duos, then we're going to go through this bottom, add super duos, through this one, super duos. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 sets of super duos. Okay, so pick up a super duo, an 11-0, a super duo. Let's look at my beads there. Then go through the next 11-0. Try and get through everything there. There's the next 11-0. Like that. Pick up a super duo, an 11-0, a super duo, and go through the next 11-0, and the next crystal, and the next super duo. That super duo, 11-0, super duo, go through the next 11-0, crystal, 11-0, that. One more time. And we're coming out of this 11-0. We've added our super duo, 11-0, super duo, and then we're going to go through the next 11-0, next crystal, and the next 11-0. There. Now we're going to add 3 seed beads like we did on this one here. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to go over this to this next 11-0, crystal, 11-0. There's what you have so far. Let's see if I can open this up a bit. Okay, so let's see what we're going to add next. So now it looks like we're going to add some crystal through. Yeah, I don't think that's the next step. So we went through here. Yeah, I think we do this at the end. Okay. So we are going to come around on this till we get to this crystal here. So the crystal just before the super duos, and we're going to add the second part. So let's try that. So let's go through. Actually, we can go. I'm going to go through these guys. You can go through the crystals again, but I just want to reinforce these ones. So go through your crystals and your 11-0s till we get to, I think, this one here, the one just before this. So let's go through the 11-0 and then through the crystal. There's a lot of steps to this. I did find it confusing. I think part of it is because it's in Italian. So if it was somebody explaining it as they're going in English, it might be easier. So got our thread coming out of this crystal here. We are going to add 2 beads here, this area here, and go through here. Then we're going to add a crystal, come out. We're going to go through. Let's do it one step at a time because it gets a bit confusing. Okay, so 2, go through the top hole. So that's the difference with this. We're now going to try and add some things. So when you're adding 2, you'll notice that your super duos will lay flat, more like an open flower. So, but that's intentional. So now we need a 11-0 crystal, 11-0 crystal, 11-0, and we're going to go through the top hole of the second super duo like that. There, like that. So now we are going to add an 11-0. Where am I here? An 11-0 and 2 super duos. And let me just check on my yellow one if I added a seed bead in between there. No, I didn't. So for this one, don't add a seed bead because you're going to close it up into this little like flower shape. Yeah. Okay. So we have an 11-0, 2 super duos, and an 11-0. That. You're going to go through the hole of the next super duo. Just like that. And I suspect we're going to be adding the crystal component in between these guys. Let me just double check. Yep. So the one we just added is right here. Now we're going to add this crystal. Okay. So move that 8-0. 11-0 crystal, 11-0. We're coming out of this hole. We're going to go through this hole like that. And now we're going to create this component right in between. So we're going to pick up an 11-0 super duo, 2 of them, and an 11-0. There you go. We're coming out of this hole. We're going to go into this hole. That. So it's starting to come along. We need a 11-0, a crystal, and an 11-0. And we're coming out of this one. We're going to go through this one. There. This one's looking really pretty. I'm glad I used these colors because sometimes it's really hard for people to see what's going on if the colors are dark and similar. So you want an 11-0, 2 super duos and 11-0. Coming out of here, we're going to go through this top hole like that. So now we want a crystal component. So you're going to do 11-0 crystal, 11-0. Coming out of this hole, we're going to go through this hole. Follow that. So this is, so you can see this is where it starts to get, you know, sticking up at points, but that actually doesn't look too bad. So now we need, if you look at the other side, so that's another way to keep in check what we're doing is look at the other side, and we have 3 seed beads, or sorry, 2 11-O's here. So from the super duo, 2 11-O's, and go through that crystal. 2 11-O's. Turn this and go through this crystal. And I'm going to go through the next 11-O and the next crystal and the next 11-O, if I can manage it. This is, looks like that's needle bending time. So let me just do these a step at a time. So there's our 2 11-O's that we just added. I'm coming out of the 11-O here. I'm going to go through this crystal and through this 11-O, and this is where I'm going to do some embellishment of that top crystal, like this. Okay, so your thread should be coming out of the 11-O right here before this crystal. This is the top part where you're going to dangle your earring from the ear wire. So let's see. The design asks for like this many beads, 5 beads. Let me see here. Where is it coming out of here? Let's just, I'm wondering, okay, yeah, I'm not sure why there's that much of a, so let me see what I did on my design. I think I shortened it. And again, that might be you know what, I think I used Toho beads on these. And you'll see that's the kind of stuff will happen if somebody else is demonstrating it in a different bead. So these beads are smaller, so we should be fine. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Sounds like a plan. So pick up 5 11-O's. Like that. And once we put it through this top hole of this super duo, if it's too many, you can take it off and make it. So yeah, look at how high it is compared to the bead. So that's definitely it's not, I mean, it's a design, not exactly, like I think it looks better when it's snug up against the bead. So let's try taking, let me see if I pull this down. Oh, you know what, I was going to say I should bring it through the bottom hole, but actually we're going to add a crystal there. So we do need to be through the top hole. I think at least one off. So let's try one. Then I just put my thread through the super duo and one of the beads. That popped it off. I don't think it's going to make a difference because it's going through the top. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to come down through the bottom, and we only need 3 beads for that. Let me check. So this is an area that I would have like worked through, and I apologize. I have been working on these, but I feel like you guys need a few more videos from me. So I've got 4 11-O's. We're going to go through the super duo and the 11-O and the super duo. we're going to come back around this. And this is going to open up. There we go. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So now let's go ahead and we're going to go through this 11-0 as well. And we're going to, you might have to come at it from a different angle. Just through that 11-0. What that'll do is it will snug down the beads closer to the crystal. So let's do 4. That's what we did on the last one. Okay, let's go through this 11-0. And I'm just going to go through the 11-0 because we want to come back around and add the crystal to the top. There. That's lovely. Okay. So now we are going to go through this part here. You can do what works for you. Just find the beads that will get you back around so we can add. So let's go through these guys. Then through the super duo, through the 8-0. It's going through one of the 11s. Let's just get the 8-0 to start with. Okay. So now we're going to go up through these 11-0s. Well, we'll do one at a time here. So we're turning this around to come out the other way. So now I'm just going to turn this a bit. The hole is parallel to the crystal. This one here. Through. Okay, so I went through the crystal. So I went through that 11-0, the crystal, the 11-0, because what I want to do is I want to step up here. I think the design gets you to take these beads and go up. And we saw there was a big gap and I don't like it. So we're just going to step up to get to the top hole of the super duo. Just like that. And then step up like that. So you can't, like, there's the thread, but you can't really, it's not that visible. If you're concerned, you could go through here, come back around, go through the bottom and step up on this side. But I feel like that's a lot of, you know, going around. Okay, so let's add the crystal. So we're going to do an 11-0, a crystal, an 11-0. Go from that hole to this hole. This is going to be your top section. Now, for the design, what they did is they had you go down through here and come back around and then come out this 11-0 and create a loop over here. How you're going to hang your earring. Now this was following the directions. Now again, I had Toho beads, so it looked a bit wonky. So I think what we might do is just continue like this, and then we'll figure out a way to hang it. So I think at this point, I'm not going to close this off. I feel like when you do that, then it finishes it, when really you need something here to hang it to your ear wire. So we'll continue around and we'll figure it out as we go. So let's go through these 11 O's, bring my thread around, because there's really nothing to do with these. Let me make sure it's not tangled. And it is. So this thicker thread does, because it's a little rigid, it creates these bends. There we go, that should do it. Come around. You could go through just the 11O and the crystal as well. Let me see where we're going to start adding stuff. So we have this bead here. We've added that. So now we're going to add, when we get down to here, we're going to add 2 beads in this little section here. Okay. Let me go through. It's getting tight. Multiple passes, so you might want to use a thinner thread for that reason. Let's go through. And we're going to go through these 2. Let's go through those 2. And let me extend my thread. So I did a full wingspan and I'm getting to the end. Now we are close to the end of this, in case you're wondering. The next stuff happens really quick. Go through the super duo, through the 11O, that, go through the crystal. Oops, sometimes that happens. Your needle goes through the super duos that are open. Okay, so we're coming out of, we're going to add 2 11Os, 2 11Os. Coming out of the crystal, we're going to go through this second hole of the super duo. Then we're going to add 1 super duo. That, like this little kind of bud. And now we're going to add the swags. Woohoo! That part's fun. Okay, so we need, let me see how many. We're going to add 2 seed beads at the beginning of the swag. So 2 11Os. Then you're going to do 5 super duos separated by 1 11O. I'll show you in a sec here. That. So this is pretty much near the end. That's what I was saying. We're almost at the end. The last one, and just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Seems like a lot, but oh, and we need a second 11O on the end. So let me show you what we have. So we have 2 11Os, a super duo 11O, and you do that 5 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 And that's why you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we need another 11 here. You guys are probably going, Emma, you have too many. So we're coming out of this bead here, the top hole of the super duo that we just added this little bud, and we are going to go down to this set of super duos. We're going to go through that second hole of that super duo. This is the fun part. That doesn't seem right. Something's wrong here. Let me... This is weird how it's... Let me see if I can stretch it out a little. There. So you see what I mean? This design, I feel like... You know what? I think I'm gonna... I've got 2 on this design here. I have 2 11-0s on each side of the swags. I think I'm going to take it down to 1. So let's take this out. I think that'll make a big difference. Let's try it with just the 1 at the middle. See if that changes it. And go back through here. Yeah, I think it needs the second one off. Let's take those all out. I find, as much as I like to follow exactly the designs, that there's often, you know, the components are different, so you have to change it up a bit. So we're just going to put these back on. Oops. I think my wife is vacuuming. I can't vacuum because of my back, and next week she is having her foot surgery, so she won't be able to do anything. There's 4, 5. So there. Oh, did I not put one on the end? There is one down there, thank goodness. We have to do this again? By the time I do these videos for you guys, I've done so many of them. Usually I've completed a full, design. So let's try these like this. Here, let me show you what that looks like. Let's flip this one over. There, I think that's better. It was like too bunched up. So now we need the little super duo here to create the bud. I love super duos. I'm like a little kid. These are my favorite. No, these are my favorite. So let's just put this one in here. I have a bunch of unboxings to do. Okay, so now let's create the swag. I wonder if the swag should be... Oh, that's what it is. The swag's supposed to be on this one, that's why. But you know what? Happy accidents. I think this looks nicer. Let's try it. Get these guys in the right position. Okay, so let's go an 11-0, super duo, 11-0, super duo, 11-0. That's 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's make sure we got the right amount. So 5 super duos and 11 in between each. We're coming out of this middle one. We are going to go to this one here, and we're going to add the bud. This is the, yeah, it is a bit. Okay, we're going to pick up a super duo, put it in this one. That. There. And we're going to add 2 seed beads too, like we did on this one. Yep, 2 seed beads. Go through the crystal. Like that. And that is what we have. There. This is looking pretty. Okay, so now we just want to come down and add this section here. So we don't have to go all the way up, but maybe we should so we could finish off the top. So let's go through the super duo and the 11 that. There. I'm going to extend this so it's not tangling. There. Okay. Just going to flip this to make it easier to get through everything. I've been kind of doing it backwards because that was the way the bezeling went. So just going to go through the 11 and the crystals to get up to this one. And go through this 11 here. Go through. Gonna go through the super duo and then step up to the crystal like this. You can go to the other side and then come up and step up as well. Like that. This is what it looks like on the front. Okay. I'm gonna go back through and just do the crystal. So now I think what I'm gonna do is get some silver wire guardians. We're gonna create the beads up here, but as we're going through, we're gonna add the wire guard, which will attach it, and I'm just it's on my desk here somewhere. I was using it for another design. Oh, there it is. I should open up to show you how crazy my desk is. Okay, so let's get some. Let's do that for now. Okay, so I think probably let's try 3 11/0s. Actually 4. Let's do 4. Go through the crystal. It needs more than that. It needs like 6. Let's see if we can. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. So my thread, I probably punctured my thread. Yeah, you can see where it's punctured it. Let me see if I can get through here. There. Okay, add 2 more. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the ones we've added again. But we're going to pick up these 2 on the bottom so that they snug down. Go through. And go through here. Go through the crystal. There we go. Okay, let's pick up this 11/0 this way. Like that. It's a little higher than I wanted, but I think it'll be fine. So now we are going to go up 2, like that, and then we're going to add the wire guardian. So go through that, and then go down through the other one, and go through these. Like that. Make sure it stays in the little groove of the wire guardian. Okay. Through. We're going to do that twice just to reinforce it. It's my wife vacuuming. You know what complaining will do, right? Excuse me, lady, can you stop vacuuming? I'm doing a video for my peeps. What's this? Go through. I hope she didn't hear me. All of a sudden the vacuum stopped. Hi, honey, did you hear me?
No.
I said, hey, I said, you know what complaining does? Hey, lady, can you stop vacuuming? I'm videotaping for my peeps.
This background noise brought to you by Princess Complaining.
I think she's starting to get nervous about this foot surgery. Okay, I'm going, like I said, I went through it twice. Or I'm going through it twice. And then we're going to finish this off. It is getting a bit low on thread, but... So now I am coming down this way. I think what I'll do is instead of... Actually, I'm going to come down the other side. So the whole time we've been going the same direction. I think this time we're going to go the opposite direction. There. So that is, it's not exactly what I would like, but you know what? Once the ear wire is on there, it'll look really pretty. So now let's get through. Oh, I want to be down through the bottom hole. So go through the bottom hole and through the crystals and the 11 O's. Yeah, these are getting, this may be a good reason to use the thinner thread and thinner needle. Oh, this is not, let me see what I can do here. Here, let's go through this hole and go down through the 11 O's. I think the lower holes have had enough thread through it. It's not happy. Go around. So let's take a look. I think the design had some beads coming down this way, like this, but I didn't like the way it looked. I think, yeah, that's this here. So actually, let's go from here to this outside one, and we'll just add a couple of beads so we can add our crystals, and that'll be the end. So we need to come out of that bottom crystal. You could put 11 O's here to complete this. You see how it's got these nice little, they look like little flowers. You know what? I think we should. So let me see if I go through this 11 O. We may end up having to add some thread here. I was kind of avoiding this video. I know I showed people this design and a lot of people asked about it. I was kind of avoiding it because we're into an hour and 30 minutes. I try to keep them shorter so that it's easier to follow. I think 3 is enough. So I'm adding 3, going through the next 11 O's. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh, that looks nice. I'm glad we did it. That looks nice. Okay, so you could actually do the same for this one here. I think we should. So go through the super duo and the 11 O. Add 3 beads. Go through these. Like that. That looks like it needs one more bead here. Let's add one more, and then go through these 2. Like that. There, perfect. That is lovely. Okay. Now I went through this hole of this super duo, but we want to be coming out of this one. So I think what we can do on this one, you can either step up and you won't really see that thread, or you could add a couple of beads here. Let me see. 2. See what that looks like. Actually, that looks nice. So just add 2 beads to that one. Now we are going to the swag. For the swag, they just add some beads here. I think 3, no, maybe 2 beads like that. Yeah, that's perfect. 2 beads. And now we're going to add our crystals. And these ones, we're not going to add any 11 O's because they're going to be snug. So let's see how this looks. So pick up a crystal. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. So just keep adding them. Another crystal. So now we're at the part of the middle. This is where you would add the middle with a like a drop crystal. Here's the 2 options. There's this option here with one of these crystals. That's what it looks like. And then the one that I added was like this with the 2 super duos. Let me see if I have either a larger blue super duo or crystal or one of these drops. So let's take a look. I have some just all the different sizes of Swarovski crystals. There's like a deep blue that wouldn't match at all. Then there's an opaque. I don't know. Let's take a look what the opaque would look like. These are 5 mil instead of 4. Oh, that's nice. It is a bit different. Let's leave that one out in case we decide to use it. I have some like really big ones, 8 O's and stuff, but they don't kind of match. And let's check. It's probably on my desk. I had some drops somewhere. Some more big sizes and the drops. So there's, yeah, that color wouldn't match. That one's pretty, but it doesn't quite match. Bummer. These guys. No, it doesn't. Okay, I can't find the others, the drop. So I think we're going to just do the double crystal design. Okay, so to start with, you are going to pick up an 11-0 and what did two 11-0s. Okay, and you're going to put two 11-0s on each side here because you're going to get it to dangle in the middle. You're going to pick up an 8-0, then an 11-0. Let's get these crystals. I'm going to pick up one crystal. Oh, that's an 8-0. Separated by an 11-0. And I'll show you when I'm done what I have. Then another bicone. Just getting this 8-0 out of the way here. Then pick up three 11-0s. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have. We have two 11-0s, an 8-0, an 11-0, a crystal, an 11-0, a crystal, three 11-0s. We're going to loop around and go back up through everything, and when we come out of this 8-0, we're going to add two 11-0s. So just like this. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So go up through the crystal, the 11-0, the crystal, the 11-0, and the 8-0, like that. And bring it all the way to the top. There. And fold those. These are to create your picot. Fold those over. There. Take a look. You're coming out of this super duo, this hole here. You're going to add two 11-0s. And you're going to go through this super duo here. That. And just pull it tight to make sure it's in there. Good. There. Here. So that is your embellishment. If you don't have, you know, a larger drop. Okay. Oh, this is at the wrong spot, actually. No big deal. This peak is supposed to be separate. Just take it out there. Go through this one. There. And I'm just realizing because we altered this, this is going to be in the way. Oh, I put it through the wrong one. This might be fine. Otherwise, I think what we should do is add more seed beads to this to make it hang a bit lower. That should be fine. That's better. Okay, so add our crystals and that's it. That. Keep going. One more. Yeah, we are cutting it short with the thread. Okay, so this is what we have so far. This is lovely. Okay, 2 seed beads, what we added at the beginning, to connect this super duo to this one, and then tie it off. I think we did 2 seed beads on the, yeah, 2 more seed beads and tie it off. So go from the top hole to the lower hole. And I'm going to put a knot here. Let's get these guys down. Yeah, this is wanting to come out here. Just there we go. That. Pick up the thread here. And so this is a trick. If you're running out of thread and you don't have enough to create your knot, you can pull your thread right out of your needle. Let me see if this will work. I think I can do it without taking it out. Twice, pull it through, bring your thread back through your needle, pull it through, and there's your knot. And I'm just going to go up and thread this through a few things to hide the thread. Take that out. There. And let's get our ear wire. See where we have them. So that's what we have so far. Let's move this stuff out of the way. So this one turned out really nice. I like this one. I think I need to, oh, and we should have added the seed beads to this one. Oh, and this as well. So yeah, I need to go back and finish this off. I had my ear wires out because I'm doing a bunch of earrings and now I can't find them. Okay, well, that's it. That's it for today. I'm sure you know how to put your earring on an ear wire. So there you go. Thanks for joining me. I know this is a long one. This is like 2 hours. And that's only one earring. And it's not quite complete. So there you go. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.